Good morning, first off. And I have to say, it was 2 years. Oh, there it goes. All right. I was trying to use my teacher voice, and I guess that didn't work. But 2 years at this conference was when we told everyone to go home, because that's when we heard about the COVID devastation that was coming to us. I thought about that this morning because we've come a long way. And I hope that you don't mind, but I want to take this off. Just so we can start experiencing our new normal. Not all of us are going to be comfortable about removing this mask, and trust me, when I'm close to folks, I will have it on just to be respectful. But it was something that we went through that we will never forget. And this journey that we've gone through, we're not finished with it, or I should say it's not finished with us, and I'll probably mention that in my speech. But I woke up thinking about this, and I just thought I wanted to share it with you. Another thing that was really heavy on me today was that I'm my own individual. I do things the way that I feel is best. Not everyone is going to agree with me. I'm sorry that I'm getting emotional, because it pisses me off. And I'll say this, it pisses me off when I'm compared and say that I'm like someone else, because I am not. I am 63 years old, and I am my own person. And if anyone ever feels that I am not being true to me, come and talk to me. That's all I have to say. Now, yesterday I said I didn't see a light, and I was given this so I could see my speech. I want to put it on my forehead, but I don't think I'll mess up my locks, and I'm not going to do that right now. So, but they were also very kind to give me another light. And I know what I just said was kind of heavy. I'm not going to apologize. I'm just letting you know how I feel, because there are many times that I would not. I would just bite my tongue. But that was just one that I could not let slide. And I hope you understand that, because you got to be true to yourself. So good morning. I am so happy that we are here in person. And did you see that switch in the kindergarten in me? The teacher, it's like I had a messed up morning, but then I came back and I'm like, hey, good morning, hey. That's what we do, folks. But I am so happy that we are here in person. I hope that you enjoyed the sessions that you were exposed to. These sessions were meant to hopefully offer insight, to invigorate you, to make you aware of things that you may not have been aware of. Hopefully it made you, like on Friday, when I saw that film, I cried. I was back there and I was crying, and Paula can contest to it, because it was just that powerful, that impactful. The part that got me was when we were talking about the young girls, what they go through. We don't recognize that enough, and we need to identify it and call it out when we see it. There is enjoyment here, but I'm hoping that you also felt some pain, some stretching of who you are, of what your beliefs are, to put you in a better place, because that's important. That's what this conference is all about. I cannot discount the hard work that we've gone through, and I say we, because I am you. You are CTA. My board members are you. They are CTA. And we've been through the crapper. I'll use kinder words. Even though I said at one conference that, this is my last year and what the fuck, what are they gonna do to me? But we have been. But yet still we are standing here. And this is a testament of how strong you are. It is a testament of your dedication of who you are. Our awardees that were given the awards of their accomplishments within the educational field in their community, that was a beautiful thing last night. Let's give them a round of applause. And it's through the work that they show that gives us hope. It's through that work that the awardees do that stretches the imagination of our membership to show them that it's just not happening in a classroom behind closed doors. That's actually happening in the communities, in the associations, in our world. There is devastation happening over in the Ukraine. That is totally wrong. There are some people feel that they deserve it. And I would say you go over there and you talk to the people that are there, that's experiencing it. But it's through the efforts that we are doing here, may be small to some, may be localized to some, but it spreads. And that's how we make change. One mind at a time. And that's why we must continue to try to make the world a better place. Just this past month, we saw some convictions that I swear in my lifetime, I don't normally announce my age because I think I look pretty dang on good to be 63. But we've seen some convictions that have happened that I would never have thought that would occur. Federal hate crime convictions. Accessory to murder, first-degree murder charges. You know the people. You know what they did. But it's because of our resilience, our determination to stand up, to be vocal, to not let stuff just happen, is why we are starting to see those changes. We have a long ways to go in order to make justice truly mean that for everyone and not just for the chosen few. But I have great faith, especially in us, that will occur. But we also have something to celebrate. Biden took a bold move. He said in his campaign, stump, that he was going to do this. And again, the process that I've seen, when you went from Obama to 45, it's like, Harry Potter, the name you will not say. when the judges came up and they were supposed to be confirmed, and how quickly one versus the other occurred. I am hoping that the nomination of Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson occurs, because we need that presence. We need that lived experience that she will bring to that court. You know, I could stand here and talk about the way that it should not be a lifetime appointment. But it's not the world that we live in right now. But I am hopeful and praying that she makes a difference, that she can sway some of the minds on that court, especially one of a black man that's on there that does not seem like he remembers where he came from, you know. But that too, you know, we shall see. But the other important thing is that she is a representative of who we are. 73% of the women in this organization, in this educational field, are women. We need to celebrate that. We need to recognize that. We need to acknowledge that. Because I tell you, if you look at the people that are in positions of administration, they are not the women. Majority of them are men. But it's not just in education. It's throughout our culture. So women, you know, don't kick me out too quick. But I know there's a revolution that's going to start, and you're going to be part of that. So we're entering our third year of COVID. And from the beginning, you know, we knew that our BIPOC people, our children especially that's in the educational system, they were impacted more severely than those that had the means. I can recount the connectivity, the devices, the availability, the lack of support. Should I continue? But we lived it. And one thing I get upset about when people ask me, we didn't do enough. What did we do? I tell them, I said, and I say this with all conviction, my educators, the people that I represent, they worked very hard. They went from a brick and mortar situation to a virtual. They were the ones passing out the devices, making sure, calling the children, making sure that they were okay. Did we and could we reach everyone? We tried. But our LGBTQ plus students, they suffered. They didn't have that social net that kept them safe in situations that were not favorable for them. Our BIPOC families suffered more in terms of the virus, with more deaths, more hospitalizations. And they were the frontline workers. They were the people that were out there making sure that we could do the things that we could do. But the other thing that bothered me was that we weren't considered frontline workers too. We were putting our families, ourselves in the same situation, but we weren't recognized with that. And that's another story that I can talk about later. Asian hate crime. That reoccurred its ugly head because of that name that I will not say. Stated it came from China on purpose. And so all of a sudden, all the Asian communities were guilty. But you made sure that our students were as safe as we possibly could have them. And I commend you for that. From the beginning, CTA fought, and we continue to have those battles to ensure safety is the number one thing that's happening for us, for our students, for our communities. We continue to say, okay, from county to county, it's going to be different. But we have to make sure that in those counties where the infection rate is the highest, we have to make sure that if no one else is going to protect us, our families, our students, we will. So those MOUs that are out there, those contractual agreements that are out there, all these new mandates that are coming out, doesn't change anything in that regards. If you feel that you need to have negotiated agreements or memorandums of understanding, know that CTA is here to help you with that. Because again, our communities are different. And they should be looked at and ensured that the safety is that for our students, our communities, and our educators. Since I said communities, I have to talk to you just a moment about community schools. I don't think that's in my speech, but I'm going to say it anyway. Community schools offer us an opportunity to push back on this narrative that school choice, vouchers is the way to go. I'm very disappointed in our Democratic Party today because the platform decided to agree that vouchers are okay. It is a travesty. And I can tell you that, and I'll call the name out because I know that this one particular person is behind it. Her name is Margaret Fortune. She was able to orchestrate this decision to pull it off of the platform. And they voted, and it was approved. So we need to make sure that our concept of what is needed in our communities, like community schools that offers mental, physical, social assistance for our families, for our communities, making sure that they have all the things that a community needs in order to have the student thrive. Only you can say that for your community. I can't tell you what that is. The governor can't tell you what that is. Your community has to coalesce together and make those decisions. And there's funding out there to make it happen. And this is a way that we can push back against that narrative, because then they can't say that, oh, we don't have what our children need. And I'm sorry, it's not just about black children, because that's Margaret Fortune. That is her premise, that she has to save the black children. It's about our brown children. It's about our poor children. It's about our Asian communities that are not the ones that are stereotypical, say that they're at the top of the mountaintop. They're about our Native children. Community schools is the way that we can push back that narrative. And unfortunately, to push back against our own Democratic Party, because they don't feel that vouchers is not the way to go. Seeing $7 to $9 billion a year removed from education, do you know how devastating that's going to be to your systems? It's going to decimate you, folks. So I don't know what we need to do, but I know one thing is that we cannot just sit silent. We have to make sure that we do everything we possibly can to ensure that our communities are safe, and that we get what we feel is a concept for what is needed in our communities with community schools. Oh boy, am I going off topic? That's all I got to say. You know, I mentioned the mask mandate. Here in Los Angeles County, they did away with the mandate inside buildings. Right now, if I'm not mistaken, they still have it in schools until after the governor decided that after the 11th, they're going to strongly require, they're not going to mandate, but strongly require that masks be worn. So a lot of people say, oh, it's going to happen on the 12th. I says, no, school's not on Saturday unless you have Saturday school. It's going to happen on the 14th. But again, if you don't feel safe, I would say mask up, because I'm going to be doing it. If only you could see my emails that I received, because I am the reason why the mass began, by the way. Toby Boyd has the crown. Oh, I do have a crown, don't I? I am the king of all things education. The parents that have called me, have cursed me. You know, especially Meyer Cruz, I don't know if you're here, and I know that you have more calls than I do. But let me tell you, folks, we followed the science on all the things, all the decisions that we made. We looked to the experts. It wasn't me. I don't have that power, because if I had that power, all of you would be millionaires. All of you would be given the respect and the honor that you should be and should be bestowed upon you. But that's not who I am right now. One day, maybe. I know that you've been through the trenches with this. You know, you have parents coming at you saying that, you know, why should I have masks on my children? Might be a small minority group, but they're vocal. If you are a leader in your association, president, you've probably been through the ringer. If you are on a school board somewhere, bless you, because you've gone through a lot. But again, we have to continue to make sure that our children, that we are safe, because that's important. I tell people I'm not the expert. I tell people that I listen to the people that know what's going on. You know, as we continue to navigate this pandemic, the focus this week that you folks have told us was on anti-racism, injustice in education. You know, we have to push back against the vouchers, but we also have to push back against the attempts to make us not tell the truth about education. They want to wipe out the contributions of people of color. Do you know that there's a couple of states that, Florida, for instance, the governor there is trying to make it so that if a parent feels that their child is being exposed to any type of racial conversations and they object, that they can sue the school board and the educator. Now it's so subjective, but it's out there. In Texas, if you have a child that's a transgender recognized child, and they find that you are in agreement with them to allow them to be who they are, that you can be put in prison, that you can be charged with child neglect. I can't make this stuff up, folks. That's why it's important that you are here this weekend, because I know we had some fantastic sessions that's giving you tools to go back into your communities. And I hope that you don't keep it to yourself, because it'd be such a waste if you do. You need to get it back into your associations. You need to make sure they understand the importance of the work that we are doing here, that you are doing. Because I want to see 100 folks being nominated for the awards next year, because you're going to be that active in your communities. You know, if I had to say something to those governors, I would tell them that, you know, you may feel uncomfortable, but I know my history, and slavery was uncomfortable. Jim Crow was uncomfortable. Manzanar was uncomfortable. The segregation of Black and Latino children from schools was uncomfortable. If you look at the history, you will know that the only reason why it changed, and no offense to my Caucasian folks out here, but the only reason why it changed is because the white people decided to allow them. Did you hear what I just said? They allowed them to be integrated because it cost them less instead of building schools for them. Now tell me what's wrong with that picture. We have to change the mindset. We have to let people know that basic human rights are important. And that's for all of our students, for all of our members, for all of your colleagues. I am so proud that we have our Human Rights Department. You have some hard, dedicated individuals that are working to give us the tools that we need to be successful. If you're going through any of the things that I said, like curriculum difficulties with your district, invite them in. Ask them to assist you, because they are there. And I see two of them right here. Can you stand up, please, so we can highlight you? Oh, I didn't see you, sorry. There's Monica back there. When I say I couldn't see a light, now I have light in my face, so it's like I can't see much out there. But we can't sugarcoat it, folks. We have to be honest. You know, CTA has always led on these issues. I'm proud of our record. We were ahead in society when we said that we wanted to educate all students. That's including black students way back when. We knew that separate was not equal. We knew that we had to stand up against oppression. You know, for decades, many California schools were only integrated, as I said, by permission. You know, we've been ahead on so many fronts. When I first began and became involved in the organization, there was this proposition that was on the ballot, Proposition 8. It was an issue that divided our organization. Our State Council of Education decided to side with the side that put us in the history books. We did the right thing. And then a few years later, for society to catch up with what we thought was right, because you're some educated people if you didn't know that. It was passed into the law to allow same-sex marriages. So you've always been ahead of the curve. And that's what's so wonderful about this conference, about you as individuals, and about this organization, is that we are, and we will continue to be, because I know you're not going to let anyone that's standing in this position or in our board, or in your leadership, to change that. I know this with all my might. But we have to continue to be vigilant. This conference demonstrates that. So again, I want to say thank you. Thank you for being here, for continuing to educate, and more importantly, to agitate. Because that's when change occurs. We celebrate Cesar Chavez's birthday at the end of this month. He knew how important this kind of work we do. He knew the value of organizing. And folks, we can't get a damn thing done unless we organize. And when I say organize, I mean organize, organize, and organize. We have to do that in order to make it happen. He knew it required a drive, a passion. It's the kind of drive that you brought here this weekend. So I want to close with a quote from Cesar Chavez. There has to be someone who is willing to do it, who is willing to take whatever risks are required. I don't think it can only be done with money alone. The person has to be dedicated to the task. There has to be some other motivation. Equally ironic, and I met her yesterday, and it was just, I've seen her several times, but I actually got to talk to her. The courageous leader and civil rights activist, Dolores Huerta. Here we celebrate and honor and recognize her birthday on April 10th. And it's an honor to know that we respect and treasure what she has done in California. You know, Dolores continues to work tirelessly developing leaders and advocating for the working poor, women, and children. I know for most of you that motivation is better, and it makes us want to improve this world for our students, for each other, for our future. So I want to leave this with Si se puede. What did I say? Si se puede. You know it, and we're going to do it. I thank you, folks. Thank you for allowing me this moment to stand up here and just be me, to have this conversation with you. You are truly amazing, folks. And I tried to come by and say hello to you individually or as a group. I don't know if I got to everyone, but I do honor you. It is so proud that I can stand here and say, and when I'm with people, that I have every single one of you standing behind me, supporting me. Because we are CTA. We are CTA. And when we want something done, we know that we have to organize, we have to agitate, and as my mom said, kick ass and take names later. So folks, have a safe journey home. Thank you very much. I'm standing in the way of prizes, so I'm gonna walk off the stage. So thank you.